everybody, welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. Although today, little change of pace episode, and I've done, I think one other one. Yeah, I did the Jaws one. But look, you guys are not just Indian Cinemaniacs, you're Cinemaniacs. And if I come across something that I think is incredible, I want to share it with you. And that's what this episode is. This is about two things I've just watched that I was blown away by. Okay. The first is a series on Max called The Penguin. Yes, The Penguin from the Matt Reeves' The Batman movie that came out in 2022. This is a mini series that picks up right after the end of The Batman. Now, I want you to watch this show, so I am not going to give any spoilers away. And there's a lot of spoilers. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give you a basic overall opinion of the show. It was directed by Kreif Zobel, Kevin Bray, Jennifer Getzinger, and Helen Shaver, who I've seen her and stuff. She's an actress. It's produced by Matt Reeves and executive produced by Colin Farrell, who plays the Penguin and played the Penguin in the Batman film. So it stars Colin Farrell, Cristin Millioti, who was in Wolf of Wall Street, a Black Mirror episode, and on 30 Rock, amongst other things. I have to be honest, I didn't recognize her from anything. But she is fantastic in this series. Renzi Feliz, who was in World War Z, Deirdre O'Connell, who plays the Penguin's mother. She was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, and Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown, the voice of Lex Luthor in Superman the Animated Series, plays Sal Maroni. So again, this picks up where Batman ends, and it's 8 episodes. And if you don't like comic book movies, now I have to tell you up front, the Batman, I wasn't a giant fan of that movie. In fact, I've only seen the entire movie once. I tried watching it again when it came on Max, and I got through about 45 minutes of it and said, I just can't watch it. I thought the best thing in it was Colin Farrell as the Penguin. But the movie, it was okay. This show, although in the same universe, and again, picks up right where the other one ends. You know, the big explosion, the flood, Gotham gets flooded. It picks up right there. So there's a power vacuum because Falcone got killed in the movie. So who's going to take over? That's basically how it starts. And then now they don't call him Oswald Cobblepot like they always have. Danny DeVito, Burgess Meredith in the Batman series, they never called him by his, they only called him the Penguin. In Batman the Animated Series, they called him Oswald Cobblepot. Well, in this grounded reality, they call him Oz Cobb. It is Oswald because they do use that name, but it's Oz Cobb. That's what they call him. And it's almost like The Godfather, The Sopranos, Goodfellas. That's really what it's like. It's about the underworld, and it's about the ascension of the crime lords and everybody. It's very Shakespearean too. But it was like I waited till all the episodes dropped, and it took me 2 nights to watch all 8 episodes. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And there's a couple of Easter eggs that kind of give you an idea who the villain or villains are going to be in the Batman 2 that's, I think, going to start filming this year. So there's a lot of, you got to look for those Easter eggs. And there's a lot of Easter eggs of Batman lore and villains you'll see. It's very gritty, a lot of swearing, a lot of violence. The only reference to the Batman really is at the very end, the last episode, the last minute of the last episode. And it's the bat signal. That's really the only reference. They talk about the Riddler every now and then, but nothing. It's not like all these references to Batman, to the Riddler, to Commissioner Gordon. It doesn't happen. So it's definitely in its own universe. Not, I shouldn't say that. Its own universe within the Batman universe. And at one point, towards the end of the film, he wears his iconic costume, where the whole movie he doesn't. Now, the biggest reason why I say watch this film, Colin Farrell and Cristin Millioti are just unbelievable in this. They're so good. She plays Sophia Falcone, and her story arc is amazing. From this innocent daughter who they're grooming to take over the Falcone family to a bitter, revengeful, smart psycho. The whole, it's amazing the beats in this. But I will tell you, as, and I've mentioned this before, and please, I'm not saying I'm anything like this, but I did a lot of acting in my life. A lot. I have never seen as good a performance as Colin Farrell in this role. And I would say to you that if you didn't know that was Colin Farrell, you would have no idea who the actor was that played the Penguin. That's how good he is. It is an incredible transformation. But now, obviously, the makeup helps that, right? He is unrecognizable in this makeup. And the makeup's fantastic. It doesn't look fake at all, but it's so much more than the makeup. It's his voice. It's his New York accent. It's this thing he does with his eyes. They gave him these kind of angled eyebrows that make him look predatory. His mouth, his top lip comes up a little bit, so he's got this strange mouth when he talks, and his gait when he walks, because he's a cripple. One of his feet is all writhed, so he's a cripple. It's incredible. I mean, one of the best performances I have ever seen from an actor creating a character. That's why you want to watch this. And he's that way. And I will tell you something else. When the show starts, you feel some sympathy for his character. And as the show goes on, because the Penguin was always a joke in the comics, the TV shows, even in the Batman Returns movie. He's no joke in this. And he's not good. Um, and and although in the beginning they try to make you feel a little sympathy for him, it doesn't last. And as more and more is revealed about him and his manipulations, you realize this is a worthy bad guy for the next film. And I won't give it away, but the ending, the last episode, something happens in it that was completely a surprise and reinforced who Oz Cobb is. And it was tough and something I was thinking about the next day. But it was I love it. I love this show. And I haven't been a big fan of the DCU universe, and not a big fan of the Batman. This nailed it. Hit it out of the park. If you haven't seen it, I'm telling you, see it. The other thing I watched, and I watched this today. You have to know I am a huge Star Trek fan. I have been for a long time. I used to watch the show in syndication when I was a kid in the 70s. I am Star Trek, the original series, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. That to me is Star Trek. I liked The Next Generation. I liked Deep Space Nine, but the OG is the original Star Trek. I'm not a big fan of anything that came after that, including the films that came after the original cast was gone. I think they've taken Star Trek in a completely different direction. I don't like it. Um, and so I'm not a big fan of it. The movie with Chris Pine was okay, but even that, they turned it into, it wasn't real Star Trek. I didn't think so. Anyway, so I just found out about this short film, and it's called 765874 Unification. It was directed by Spanish filmmaker Carlos Banya, and it had original music by an Academy Award winning Star Trek composer, Michael Giacchino. It features William Shatner, Robin Curtis as Savick, Leonard Nimoy, and Gary Lockwood as Gary Mitchell, amongst others. No dialogue except for one short voiceover by William Shatner. Now, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy's widow was involved in this production. And I will tell you, because they've Paramount has treated William Shatner pretty shabbily. In fact, there was a push for Paramount Plus, an ad campaign, and they had pictures of the Star Trek, iconic Star Trek figures, and William Shatner's Captain Kirk was left off both of them. Too toxic masculinity. And that really bothered me because to me, Captain Kirk is it, okay? His portrayal. And the best film is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And he was phenomenal in that. This little 8-minute short film has more heart and pays tribute to Captain Kirk and the Star Trek fan base with almost no dialogue. It is heartfelt. It is beautifully shot. They de-age Kirk. And I'm not a huge fan of that because I think it looks fake. They did a really good job with it in this. And it's like a wonderful tribute to his character and the Star Trek that most people love. And I'm going to put a link to this down below. If you're a Star Trek fan at all, of the original series. Now, some of you might be so young, you never saw the original series, which could be, and maybe you love the new stuff, which I can't stand. But it was beautiful, and it's really worth watching. So please take a look at that. Now, after you watch both these things, let me know what you think about them in the comment section. I really want to hear what you guys think about both the Penguin and, again, it's 765874 Unification. That's the Star Trek short film. So check it out if you get a chance, okay? All right, and we're going back to the recommended list, so we'll get right back to Indian films. But please take a look at this. Let me know what you think, okay? Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon with another 10ish-minute review on Junk Talks Indian Cinema. Thanks for watching, everybody.